Hey YouTube, so we have another Postmates video. Might as well, right? It's nothing wrong with that. So today's Postmates video is basically about when should you do Postmates. I'm gonna keep it short and simple. Like I don't believe in having these long stressed out videos when it comes to something like this, because when you're someone that's searching for the information for stuff like this, I'll admit we all do this. We want it fast, just like get to the point. So we're gonna get to the point. And the point is that you should be doing Postmates, honestly. And this depends. There's three things you have to take into account first. First, how much time in a day do you have? Do you have 24 hours, or do you work a full-time job, or are you a part-time? That matters. Second thing, and this honestly really is the first thing. And if you haven't checked out my other Postmates video, I'll have the card floating around, but I'm going to tell you, and it's because it's the number one thing that matters when it comes to Postmates, what kind of car you have. That's number two. Let's have that be number one, and then let number two be how many times in a day you have. It doesn't matter what kind of car you have. If you have a newer car, you're good. Go out there and do those deliveries. If you don't, hold it back a little bit. And this is where it gets to number two, and why it matters how much time do you have in a day. Because you can't be like, if your car has 250,000 miles, I'm someone who used to have a car that was 250,000 miles, you can't drive it all day. You can't. Okay. It makes perfect sense. So how much time in a day do you have? What kind of car you have? And the third thing is, what spots are you, like, what's going to be your location? If you like, because if you are if you're in Kansas, this is gonna suck, but if you're in a place like Los Angeles, okay, your location, you need to go to the restaurants where things are popping, where they do have deliveries, where people do ride sharing, whether it's Grubhub, Postmates, etc. Usually if they have like Uber Eats or Grubhub or something, they probably are going to have Postmates. They typically do. Okay, those three things matter. Now, as far as what time of the day you're going to do it, honestly, the best times to do it are during the peak hours. They tell you on the app, if it's not something you've gotten into and you haven't downloaded the app or have had time to experience it yet, that's basically the peak times are the times that you should be going out and doing deliveries. Now, let me dial it back a bit. You don't necessarily have to do it at the peak times. I noticed that sometimes when you do it before the peak time kind of begins, that's when you can get a good RI, especially in the morning. So the peak time usually starts in the first one. There's two of them, by the way. There's basically lunch and dinner, but the first one is lunch, and it starts around 10:30 or so. That's when it starts. But honestly, if you have time, especially on a Saturday or Sunday, if you have at least some time before 10:30, go in. I think that's actually a good time. Yeah, because people, minus the beer bug, right? But people, they wake up, they want breakfast, they want something to eat. They don't feel like, a lot of people don't enjoy putting in the time and effort to actually create something for themselves the moment that they wake up in the morning. So they're going to order something online. Like, it's simple. So a lot of people, so you go out there, people are going to be ordering Denny's, they're going to be ordering from cafes, they're going to be like, so they can start their day, but they don't feel like getting ready and going out, or going out in joggers and sweatpants to go get a coffee or two. So those times, honestly, before the peak hours is the time that you should do Postmates. Okay, now the second one, the second peak time is dinner, basically. So if you're doing dinner, then around 4:30 or so, that's when you should be out there, because honestly, it kind of, because it starts to build up and I have more videos, and I have, like, I'll just put them all in the description. There's certain times where people just start ordering, and then if you are actually in tune with the app and you have your settings for automatic acceptance of deliveries, I know I'm saying a lot, but it's really about the times that you should do it. But if you have like all those functions like in place, then they start to rack up and they start building. And if you get on a roll, those low key, they can transition into your peak time. So if you could have 5 consecutive deliveries that are all looped together, so meaning you get the multiplier for all that time you're driving around, all that waiting time. And I think that's something a lot of people don't understand. You can't just go out there and say, oh, I'm gonna do one then I'm gonna just, you know, chill for a bit, then I'm gonna do 2, then I'm gonna just chill for a bit. It really works when you are efficient and you're just constantly going, because when it starts chaining together, that's the beauty of Postmates, is when all the orders start chaining together. And I think the most that I completed at one point was 10. I completed 10 deliveries. I probably did like 15 or 20 that day, but you completed 10 deliveries and they were all together. So the multiplier activated not only for my wait time, my miles, my whatever else is on there, all of it multiplied. And then my tip multiplied. So basically out of those 10, basically everything added up to about, it was like $100 in tips, and then it was about probably $40 to $50 just off of all the deliveries. And I did that, if I'm not mistaken, I did that on my day off one time, and it was around the lunchtime actually. So I did it about, I started at about probably like 10:30 or so, and then I finished up around 1 or 2, and it was phenomenal. So before the peak times is the best. Lunch is a good one because, you know, a lot of people work probably without the beer bug, right? Or they're working office jobs, and let's be honest, like a lot of, like if you walk outside and see a lot of these people, they're not necessarily people that are taking care of their bodies. They do have the muffin tops, they do, you know, everything going on with them. But the point is that they're ordering food, so therefore you can deliver them their food, and then you can make more money. So I think that's a good time. So honestly, before the peak hours is the best time to deliver, but definitely during the peak hours, because you get the multiplier of delivering during the peak hour, and that's honestly it. Now, if you're strapped for time, probably a good, like, definitely in the morning, a good 2 or 3, definitely in the morning is the best, because people are ordering from like major chains that are opening up. It's kind of tough at night because you're just gonna get fast food deliveries at nighttime when it's like 9, 10, 11. You could probably get some tips. It's not going to be as good as those morning or afternoon tips or dinner tips. So if you're delivering at night, if that's the time you have, I wouldn't spend too much time on it. One, you not only have to worry about your safety, because there are some shady MFs out there, and then on top of that, you're not going to be getting tipped that much. You know, you might make back what you would have ran on gas, but it's I don't think it's worth it unless you're trying to hit incentives. And in all my videos, I think about Postmates, I mentioned that if you're trying to hit the incentives, then the fast food is king. If you are just trying to stack up you know, dollars and money and actually get a good ROI, fast food ain't it for you. It's not. So yeah, that's the video. Hopefully it didn't string on too long, but yeah, 3 things you have to take into account when you're thinking about what time you're going to deliver is what kind of car you have. Is it new or old? How much time in a day you have? Because if you're full-time or part-time, if you're full-time, it's going to be a little tough. So you're just going to have to, you know, make some sacrifices sometimes, and that's up to you. And if you're part-time, I guess you could probably do Postmates full-time, and then wherever you're going end up being part-time. But if you don't have, but it all starts with your vehicle. If you don't have like a newer model of a vehicle with low miles, then don't put all the wear and tear on your car. You know, I would probably stick to about probably once or twice a week, honestly, if you can, depending on how often you're working during your schedule. And the third thing is your location. Go to the restaurants where like a lot of people like order stuff is. So like if there's lines, people are probably ordering things from there on Postmates. You know what I mean? So like just think about it. You know, do some research on your environment, figure it out. But that's really it. The best times to actually deliver are before the peak times. Keep that in mind. Yeah, the peak times are good, but it's really before. That's when it starts basically getting the gears turning. So little tip. So if you like this, like, comment, share with someone that is trying to get into Postmates or just whatever, anything Postmate related, and subscribe. Yeah, I'm not the Postmates guy, I'm not, but I have no problem sharing my experiences on things that can not only help you, but obviously help me too. So yeah, catch you on the next one. Have a good day.
Points, I got aching joints. Ever since I was a kid, I had to make a point. I had to rip a crowd, I had to make my vows to this thing that made me who I am and held me down. Shout out Kyler Holmes, you made this house a home. Remember wishing there was way more to us than poems, but that was back then. I'm 22 now, I got other avenues to get me through now.